Skill number 6, Fractions, Multiplication and Division Review Sheet. Calculate each product or quotient, show your work, reduce all fractions to lowest terms. So we're going to take a look at multiplying and dividing fractions here today. Number 1, let's start with. So we have 3/7 times 5/6. Now when multiplying fractions, very simply all we have to do is multiply across the top. 3 times 5, which is 15, and multiply across the bottom, 7 times 6, which is 42. We can then look, can we reduce this fraction at all? Well, if we look here, we see that 3 goes into both 15 and 42. So 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 42 14 times. Give us an answer of 5/14. So my answer for number 1 is 5/14. If we take a look at number 3 here, you might decide that, hey, maybe I want to go ahead and reduce my fractions before I do my multiplication. And I can do that. We have to cancel something from the denominator and something from a numerator. Well, we look in the numerator and denominators of these two fractions. We see a 10 in the numerator, and then we see a 5 in the denominator. Well, 5 goes into 10 2 times. That's going to go ahead and 5 becomes a 1, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we can multiply the fraction now. 2 times 2, which is 4, over 1 times 11, which is 11. So sometimes reducing fractions before you multiply makes it a little bit easier problem when you're all done. So number 3, the answer is 4/11. Now with number 4, we have a proper fraction times number 4. To multiply these, we're going to need to turn this into an improper fraction. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27 over 5, times the number 4 is the fraction 4/1. So 5 2/5 times 4 is the same thing as 27 over 5 times 4/1. We look at the numerators, we look at the denominators. We don't have any common factors anywhere, so we're going to go ahead and multiply across the top. 27 times 4 is going to give me, well, 108. 5 times 1 is 5. Now, if we look to change this back, 5 goes into 108 21 times with a remainder of 3. So we have 21 3/5 is our answer for number 4. If we take a look at number, let's take a look at number 5 here. 2 2/3 times 1 3/8. So 2 2/3 is 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Change it to its improper form. Times 8 times 1 is 8, so we end up with 11/8. Now here we look numerators, look at the denominators. We do have a common factor here. 8 and 8 cancels down to 1. So it's going to make a little easier problem. 1 times 11 is 11. 3 times 1 is 3. Now rewrite this in proper fraction form. 3 goes into 11. 3 times a remainder of 2. So we have 3 2/3 is our answer for number 5. Now we're going to take a look at some division problems. Let's take a look at number 7. It's 3/7 divided by 4/7. Now when dividing fractions, the rule is you multiply by the reciprocal. So we end up with 3/7 times the reciprocal of 4/7 is 7/4. Now we can go ahead and reduce here. 7 becomes a 1. This 7 becomes a 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. So our answer for number 7 is 3/4. Let's take a look at number 8. So we have 5/3 divided by 3/10. Remember, when dividing our fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So the reciprocal of 3/10 is going to be 10/3. We don't have anything in common between the numerators and the denominators this time, so we'll multiply across. 5 times 10 is going to give me 50. 3 times 3 is 9. Now to rewrite this in proper fraction form, 9 goes into 50 5 times with 5 left over. So 5 5/9 is your answer for number 8. Now let's take a look at a problem here where we are dividing and we've got two proper fraction forms. So we're going to take a look at number 11 down here. So let's just go ahead and take a look at number 11. 4 1/4 divided by 2 2/8. Well, 4 1/4 is going to be the same thing as 17/4 divided by 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2 is 18/8. So we end up with 17/4 multiplied by the reciprocal of 18/8, and that gives us 8/18. Now we can try to reduce if possible. 4 goes into 8 2 times. And then if we look, we also have a 2 going into this 18. So 2 goes into that once, that goes into there 9 times. So we end up in the numerator 17 times the number 1, which is 17. Denominator is 1 times 9, which is 9. So it gives us 17/9. Rewriting that, we get 1 8/9 is our answer for number 11. That concludes the review for skill number 6, fractions, multiplication, and division.